So, you went no contact. Maybe she left. Maybe you walked away. Either way, she's silent now. You're wondering, will she ever chase me? Will she miss me? The truth is, she can chase you, but only if you play the next moves with precision, not emotion. Let's break this down. Silence is one of the most powerful psychological tools a man can use in the aftermath of a breakup or a disconnection. When you decide to go no contact, what you're essentially doing is disrupting the dynamic she had grown accustomed to. If you were always available, always texting, always calling, always trying to fix things or prove your worth, your sudden silence becomes deafening. It shocks her nervous system. It forces her to sit with the emptiness you once filled. And that space, that void, becomes the breeding ground for reflection, curiosity, and in many cases, regret. Most men make the mistake of thinking that no contact is simply about ignoring her. But it's not about being passive. It's about sending a message without speaking a single word. It's about creating the absence that forces her to feel your value. You're not chasing, you're not explaining, and you're definitely not pleading. Your silence is a statement, a silent but powerful declaration that says, I know my worth. I'm not waiting around to be chosen. I am the prize. Women are emotionally intuitive. They can sense energy even when there are no words. When you go no contact and truly commit to it, not just as a tactic, but as a reflection of your self-respect, she starts to question everything. She wonders why you're not reaching out. She replays old memories in her head. She scans her phone, expecting a text that never comes. And in that waiting, in that silence, she starts to feel the imbalance. You've removed your attention, and attention to a woman is like oxygen. It validates, it fuels, it stabilizes. Without it, she becomes unsettled. She starts to ask herself, did he really move on? Does he not care anymore? Is he seeing someone else? Now here's where the silence becomes tactical. It forces her to face the reality that you are no longer orbiting her. And when a woman feels like a man she once had now feels unattainable, that's when the tables turn. That's when she starts to think about you in ways she never did when you were always around. She starts to chase closure. She starts to chase attention. She starts to chase validation. The very things you were once chasing from her. But this only works if your silence is real. If you break it too soon, the illusion collapses. If you try to manipulate her with fake no contact, posting things just to get her attention, secretly hoping she'll text you, you're not actually in control. She can feel that energy. She can feel that you're still hooked. True no contact is pure detachment. It's not about waiting for her to notice. It's about stepping fully into your masculine frame and saying, I don't need to prove anything anymore. I'm focused on myself. The silence also gives you something rare, clarity. In the noise of emotions, arguments, and confusion, it's easy to lose yourself. When you go silent, you start to hear your own voice again. You get to step back and see the relationship for what it truly was. You begin to ask yourself the deeper questions. Was she really aligned with my values? Did she truly respect me? Or was I addicted to the idea of her? And that self-awareness becomes your power. Because now, if she ever does come back, you're not the same man she left. You're stronger, you're sharper, and you're no longer in a position of emotional dependence. This is why silence is not weakness. It's dominance. It's emotional control. It's spiritual grounding. It's the mature, disciplined decision to let her feel the consequences of losing you. Because if you meant anything to her, she will notice your silence. She will feel it. And whether it takes days, weeks, or even months, your absence will speak louder than any words ever could. Disappearing without evolving is just hiding. No contact alone won't make her chase you unless you become the man who is worth chasing. A lot of guys think they can just go silent, sit back, and wait for the woman to come running back. That's not how it works. Women don't chase silence. They chase value. They chase what is rare, what is growing, what is becoming more desirable by the day. So, during no contact, your number one mission is not to wait, it's to evolve. This is the phase where you go inward. You analyze everything. You confront your own patterns, your weaknesses, your emotional dependency, your habits. You dig deep and ask, what part of me tolerated disrespect? What part of me needed constant validation? Where did I lose my power in the relationship? And then, without telling anyone, without broadcasting it, you begin the process of becoming unrecognizable. First, you handle your body. You hit the gym, not to post shirtless selfies or make her jealous, but to discipline yourself. Every workout, every early morning, every rep, it's a message to your subconscious. I'm done being soft. I'm done being needy. I'm reclaiming myself. Your body starts changing, but more importantly, your mindset does. You're not just lifting weights. You're lifting your standards. You're reshaping your identity. Then you focus on your lifestyle. You stop wasting time on distractions. You reduce your consumption of pointless content, late nights, and gossip. You start reading. You start building. Maybe it's a business. Maybe it's a new skill. Maybe it's mastering your craft at work. Whatever it is, you pour your energy into progress. Women are attracted to momentum. Nothing draws attention like a man who is clearly on a mission. You don't need to talk about it. You just need to become it. She'll hear about it, she'll see it through others, or she'll stumble upon it when she least expects it, and it will hit her like a wave. This transformation is not just external. Internally, you're mastering your emotions. You're no longer reacting. You're no longer triggered by her silence. You're not stalking her profile, wondering who she's with, overanalyzing her every move. You've detached from needing her validation, because now your validation comes from your own progress. And that detachment, that inner calm, is magnetic. It's what separates the average man from the rare one. Your silence now has weight. You're not just a guy who disappeared. You're a man who walked away and became more valuable. That alone flips the entire psychological script. Women are emotional creatures. They remember how they felt around you. And if they remember you as the man who was chasing, overinvesting, and begging, but now hear stories or see glimpses of a man who is thriving, focused, glowing, that contrast creates an emotional dissonance. She starts to question, was I wrong about him? Did I give up too early? Why does he seem even more attractive now that I'm gone? This is how you create chase energy, not through manipulation, not through pretending, but through undeniable growth. You don't become who she wants. You become who you were always supposed to be. That man doesn't chase anyone. That man becomes the gravity that pulls everything toward him. And here's the deeper part. This evolution isn't even about her anymore. Somewhere in the process, you stop caring if she comes back. You realize the value you were trying to prove to her. You didn't even see it in yourself. So now you're living from a different place, a place of internal certainty, a place of grounded masculinity. You walk differently. You talk differently. Your standards rise. Your patience drops, and your peace becomes non-negotiable. This is what happens when you use no contact as a catalyst for transformation instead of a tool for manipulation. You evolve, and in doing so, you become the kind of man who doesn't need to be chased, because you're already ahead. But paradoxically, that's exactly what makes her want to chase you. Social proof is one of the most overlooked yet incredibly potent forces when it comes to attraction, especially in the context of making a woman chase you after no contact. It taps into a deep-rooted psychological instinct, one that isn't even fully conscious most of the time. Human beings, especially women, are social creatures, and women, by their very nature, are biologically wired to be hyper-aware of a man's value as judged by the tribe. What does this mean in practical terms? It means that how other people, especially other women, perceive you has a profound influence on how she begins to see you. It's not even about what you say or do. It's about what your social environment silently communicates about your worth. If you were always chasing her, if you were always available and overly expressive about your feelings, she might have started to subconsciously see you as a man with few options, a man whose value was dependent on her approval. And that perception kills desire, it kills mystery. But once you step into no contact and begin living your life in a way that shows other women are noticing you, are attracted to you, are engaging with you, even in subtle, indirect ways, you begin to shift that entire dynamic. You are no longer the man who is waiting for her. You are now the man who is being observed, appreciated, even desired by others, and that triggers something primal in her. Competition. You don't have to be surrounded by women or flood your social media with selfies and fake clout. That's not social proof. That's desperation in disguise. Real social proof is subtle, organic, and deeply effective. It can be something as simple as a photo with friends where you're genuinely enjoying yourself and a few women happen to be part of the group. It can be a post where a woman comments something playful or flattering. It can be a story where you're out at a classy event, not flaunting anything, just existing confidently in your world. These signals are loud, even if they're silent, because when she sees that other women want your attention, she begins to reconsider how much of a prize you are. It goes deeper than jealousy. This isn't just about making her feel like she's losing you to someone else. This is about altering the way she calculates your value. When a woman sees that other women are interested in you, it subconsciously tells her that you must have something worth having. This is how her instincts work. Women don't want to pick a man that no one else wants. They want a man that other women want, but cannot have . That distinction is critical. It's not enough to be seen as available and friendly to every woman. That makes you look weak and desperate. The real power lies in being desired but unavailable, visible but untouchable, engaged but detached. Social proof also includes how men view you. Are you respected by other you men? Do people look to you for leadership, insight, or inspiration? If you carry yourself in a way that earns you respect from other men, women will feel that energy even if they don't fully understand why. Respect among men signals strength, competence, and leadership, qualities that are irresistible to a woman's deeper psychology. So the way you carry yourself in your social circles, the kinds of conversations you're part of, and the way you handle pressure and adversity, all of that becomes part of your aura. What's fascinating is that sometimes even just the possibility that other women are interested in you is enough to make her reevaluate everything. She might not even see proof, but the silence, the change in your behavior, the new confidence, the upgraded lifestyle, It all hints that maybe someone else has your attention now, that maybe you've moved on, that maybe she was wrong to think you'd wait, and that's when the anxiety kicks in. That's when the fantasy starts to build in her mind. She begins to imagine you with someone else, someone who now gets the best version of you, the one she ignored, the one she doubted. That's the power of social proof. It forces her to confront the idea that she's not the only one who sees your worth. And once that happens, she starts competing not just with her own ego, but with the image of the woman who might have replaced her. She starts thinking about how to re-enter your life, how to reconnect, how to reclaim the attention she used to have effortlessly. But this time, the power is in your hands, because now you're no longer broadcasting that she's your only option. You're showing her and everyone else that you are the option. Staying off the radar, but not off the grid, is one of the most nuanced and effective psychological strategies you can use after going no contact. A lot of men either go completely invisible, thinking that full detachment means disappearing from the face of the earth, or they swing to the other extreme, trying too hard to appear happy, fulfilled, and unbothered on social media. Both extremes backfire. One makes you look forgotten and irrelevant, the other makes you look desperate for attention. What actually works is the middle ground, being subtly visible, quietly present, without ever looking like you're trying to send a message. You don't shout your transformation. You whisper it through carefully placed signs that speak volumes without saying anything directly. This tactic operates on the foundation of ambiguity. You want to create a sense of curiosity, a little bit of mystery. You're not giving her closure, and you're not showing her exactly where you stand. She shouldn't know if you've moved on, if you're dating someone, or if you've even thought about her. You're just living. And in that quiet presence, she starts to wonder. She checks your stories, sees a short clip of you laughing with friends, dressed well at a new place, and something inside her shifts. She's not seeing a man who is heartbroken or bitter. She's seeing a man who is clearly evolving, and doing it without her. That realization cuts deep. You don't need to post daily. In fact, less is more. A single story every now and then, a subtle image that shows you're enjoying your life. These things stick in her mind far longer than over-the-top posts aimed at getting a reaction. This is psychological warfare at a very quiet level. The goal is to reframe how she perceives your absence. It's not about being cold. It's about being detached in a way that makes her wonder, did I ever really know him? Has he changed that much already? Why does this feel so unfamiliar? That unfamiliarity creates tension. It stirs unresolved emotions, and it makes her want to check back again and again, trying to decode the new version of you. The beauty of this approach is that it doesn't just affect her, it benefits you too. Staying off the radar while still being active helps you maintain your sense of self without falling into performative behavior. You're not living for her reaction. You're living for your own growth, and that authenticity radiates through everything you do. She'll sense that your life isn't being curated to attract her. It's simply unfolding in a way that naturally commands attention. That's when you become truly magnetic. You're not trying to win her back. You're simply becoming a man that any woman would notice, and she happens to be one of them. Timing matters too. When you begin to reappear in subtle ways after a period of complete silence, the psychological impact is amplified. It's like someone returning to the screen after vanishing in a movie. Suddenly, all eyes are on them. Your re-emergence shouldn't be grand. It should be elegant, quiet, effortless. A well-timed photo from a trip, a short video of you doing something you're passionate about, or even a reshared post with depth. These create a digital footprint that's light but unforgettable. Every time she sees it, she gets a small emotional jolt. It might not be enough to trigger immediate action, but it builds over time. It creates emotional residue, and over time, that residue turns into desire. There's also a deeper psychological layer at play here, one rooted in uncertainty. Human beings are addicted to uncertainty. When something is predictable, it loses value. When it's unpredictable, it becomes compelling. By staying off the radar but not off the grid, you make yourself unpredictable. She can't figure out what's going on with you. She can't get closure. She can't stop thinking about it. That mental loop you create in her mind becomes the fuel for her obsession. She checks your profile not because she misses the old you, but because she wants to understand this new version of you. And the fact that she can't fully figure you out is exactly what makes you more attractive. This strategy also gives you control over the narrative without ever speaking a word. You're showing her that you are the one writing your story now. You're not frozen in time. You're not emotionally stuck. You're moving forward, and your life is taking on new dimensions without her influence. That shift in narrative can be extremely destabilizing for a woman who once thought she had you emotionally locked in. When you stop reacting, when you stop chasing, when you stop broadcasting pain and start projecting power, she starts to feel what it's like to lose emotional control over you. And nothing makes a person want control more than realizing they no longer have it. In essence, you are using silence combined with subtle visibility as a form of psychological leverage. You're letting her mind do all the work. You're letting her imagination fill in the blanks. And believe it or not, what she imagines is often far more powerful than what you could ever show. The mind creates scenarios, and those scenarios are fueled by emotion. She doesn't know who you're seeing, what you're doing, or how you feel. And that's exactly what keeps her emotionally engaged. Because while words can be ignored and texts can be deleted, uncertainty lives in the mind. And when it's mixed with curiosity, it becomes obsession. The power of emotional contrast is one of the most underestimated yet deeply influential forces when it comes to reigniting attraction and making her chase you after no contact. Emotional contrast refers to the difference between who you used to be and who you are becoming, or have already become. It's not just about surface level change, like dressing better or posting cryptic quotes on social media. It's about the fundamental emotional shift she feels when she realizes that you're no longer emotionally attached in the same way you once were. That contrast is what shakes her foundation, because it disrupts her internal narrative about who you are and how much power she has over you. During the relationship, or whatever dynamic you had with her, she likely experienced a version of you that was emotionally available, eager, and maybe even desperate for her attention. You might have overcommunicated your feelings, tolerated behavior that went against your values, or constantly sought her approval. You made it easy for her to predict your reactions, to know that if she pulled away, you would reach out. If she ignored you, you would wait. If she pushed you, you would fold. That consistency, while sincere, eventually killed the emotional tension, and without emotional tension, there's no attraction, there's no mystery, there's no spark. But when you go silent and begin to truly shift emotionally, not just pretend to be detached, but actually become detached, everything changes. Suddenly, you're no longer emotionally available in the way she was used to. Your energy feels different. Your presence feels unfamiliar. You're calm where you used to be anxious. You're indifferent where you used to be reactive. That change doesn't just confuse her. It creates emotional contrast. And that contrast makes her feel something new, something unpredictable, something powerful. You see, emotions are the glue of memory. People don't remember details, they remember how you made them feel. When she starts feeling something different, whether it's curiosity, insecurity, confusion, or even jealousy, it triggers a chain reaction in her mind. She begins to wonder what caused this change. Did you meet someone new? Did you finally realize your worth? Are you truly over her? Those questions create emotional tension, and that tension is the seed of renewed attraction. Because in that uncertainty, she begins to feel a loss of control, and that loss creates urgency. What's important here is that emotional contrast cannot be faked. Women are intuitive. They can feel when a man is pretending to be over her while secretly checking her stories, crafting indirect posts, or hoping for her attention. That's not emotional contrast, that's theatrical detachment, and it's transparent. But when you genuinely shift your emotional baseline, when you stop investing mental energy in her, when your mood is no longer dictated by her behavior, that's when she notices something she can't ignore. She senses the emotional void where your attention used to be, and it unsettles her. Not because she needs your love, but because she had grown comfortable with your emotional dependency. This change flips the psychological script. Where you once chased, she now starts to feel the pressure. Where you once over-explained, now you say nothing. Where you once offered reassurance, now there is only silence, and in that silence the mind races. She replays memories, imagines scenarios, and questions her decisions. You become the unresolved story in her life, the one that suddenly feels out of reach. That emotional shift becomes addictive, and unlike physical changes, emotional contrast is internal. It lingers, it haunts, it grows stronger with time, because the longer you remain emotionally consistent in your new frame, the more undeniable the transformation becomes. Another key part of emotional contrast is how you now handle pressure. If she tries to test you by reaching out casually or baiting you with indirect signals, your response, or lack thereof, becomes a powerful reflection of your new emotional baseline. If you don't react with excitement or urgency, if you respond slowly, calmly, or not at all, it shocks her nervous system. She expects the old you, the emotionally available, eager, validating version. But now, she's met with poise, boundaries, and distance. That contrast speaks volumes. It sends a message far louder than words. I'm not who I used to be. I don't need what I used to crave. Emotional contrast is also reinforced by how you carry yourself in your daily life. When people around you notice a shift in your energy, your posture, your confidence, it validates the transformation. Your friends might comment on how you seem more focused. Your co-workers might notice a calm assertiveness. Even strangers might treat you differently, because confidence is felt before it's spoken. All of this contributes to a new emotional aura that others can feel, and that she can sense from a distance. And the more that aura grows, the more powerful your silence becomes, because now your absence is no longer passive, it's a statement. The emotional contrast you create is not just for her, it's for you. It redefines your relationship with yourself. It's proof that you've stopped measuring your worth by someone else's validation, and that internal shift is what creates real, lasting power. You're no longer driven by the need to be wanted. You're driven by the desire to become the highest version of yourself, and that evolution doesn't just make you more attractive, it makes you magnetic. It's the kind of energy that doesn't chase anyone because it knows it can't be ignored. Re-engaging with purpose, if you choose to do it at all, is where the entire strategy pivots from passive growth to active control. This isn't about breaking no contact just because enough time has passed or because you miss her. It's about deliberately deciding whether to reintroduce yourself into her world, and doing it from a position of strength, not need. Most men sabotage the entire dynamic by jumping the gun. They start to see signs that she might still be interested, or they just get tired of the silence and reach out emotionally, hoping for connection. That completely destroys all the power they've built during no contact. If you want her to chase you, any re-engagement has to be intentional, subtle, and deeply rooted in self-respect. When you re-engage, you're not seeking validation, you're not looking for closure, you're not trying to rekindle what was. You are giving her an opportunity to experience the new version of you on your terms. You are not offering yourself. You're offering her a glimpse, just a taste, of the evolved man she thought she had figured out. That glimpse should leave her intrigued, maybe even shaken. It should feel familiar but distant, warm but composed, open but unattached, and the key to pulling this off is authenticity. You can't fake calm, you can't fake confidence, and you definitely can't fake growth. If it's real, it shows. If it's forced, it cracks. Re-engagement can take many forms, but what matters is the energy behind it. A simple, nonchalant message after months of silence can be far more powerful than a long emotional text. A short reply to something she posts, or an unexpected but calm acknowledgement in passing, can leave a deeper impression than a direct confession of lingering feelings. The art of subtlety is where most men fail. They either overdo it or underplay it. But when you strike the right balance, when your communication says "I'm good either way," that's when the chase begins, because now she doesn't feel pursued. She feels like she has to earn her way back into your world. This kind of re-engagement must be done with complete emotional detachment. That doesn't mean being cold or dismissive. It means that regardless of her response, whether she's warm, confused, indifferent, or even hostile, you stay grounded. You don't react. You don't spiral into overanalyzing. You maintain your emotional equilibrium. That's what separates the men who truly reclaim their power from those who are just pretending. Detachment gives you the clarity to see things for what they are, not for what you hope they will be. And when she sees that you're no longer emotionally dependent on her attention, she begins to question everything she thought she knew about you. Another layer to purposeful re-engagement is timing. You don't just reappear because you miss her or because you feel like enough time has passed. You do it when your life is genuinely full, when your mind is clear, and when you've already accepted that you don't need her to feel complete. That's when your presence hits the hardest, because now you're not showing up as the man who lost her. You're showing up as the man she lost. That shift changes everything. It puts the emotional weight on her shoulders. It forces her to reassess the value you brought to her life, and it makes her wonder if she even has a place in your future. If she does respond positively to your re-engagement, don't fall back into old patterns. This is where many men get pulled back into emotional submission. They interpret her interest as a green light to go all in again. That's not the move. The goal isn't to resume the dynamic. The goal is to establish a new dynamic, one where your boundaries are clear, yourself. Worth is unshakable, and your attention is earned, not given freely. You have to move slowly, observe carefully, and lead with intention. You are no longer the man who seeks validation. You are the man who offers value, and only to those who recognize and respect it. Also, purposeful re-engagement doesn't always mean initiating a conversation. Sometimes the re-engagement is energetic. You run into her in public, and your demeanor is confident but calm. You acknowledge her without emotion, without hesitation, and continue on your path. That moment sticks with her longer than any message ever could, because in that instant she feels the gap between who you were and who you are now. She sees a man who has rebuilt himself without her, and that realization is often what triggers the beginning of her pursuit, not because she wants what you used to give her, but because she now sees that you've become something she can no longer control. Re-engaging with purpose is not about reigniting old feelings. It's about revealing the new standard. It's about making it clear, without saying it, that you're not stepping back into her life as the same man. You're not trying to revive the past. You're showing her what the future could look like, but only if she meets you where you are, not where you used to be. This is the final layer of attraction that makes her want to chase you, not just because she misses you, but because now she sees that your value has evolved, your energy has leveled up, and your presence is no longer something she can take for granted. So, in the end, making her chase you after no contact isn't about manipulation, games, or trying to trigger a reaction. It's about transformation. It's about becoming a man who no longer needs to chase, because his energy naturally draws in what aligns with his purpose and self-worth. The silence, the distance, the emotional shift, it all serves a deeper purpose: to reclaim your power, refocus your direction, and rise above the emotional chaos that once kept you stuck. And if she begins to chase, it's not because you begged or convinced her. It's because she recognized, maybe too late, that losing you meant losing something rare, something grounded, disciplined, and profoundly masculine. So don't chase, don't explain, just become, and let your growth speak for itself.